What's up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my full card breakdown and predictions for UFC 257, Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier. And obviously, like any card with Conor McGregor on it, it's going to be a very exciting card. We do have 12 fights here. I know on Wednesday we did have 14, but yeah, the card as a whole, it's pretty good. I think there's a lot of great prospects on it that we'll talk about. And, I mean, yeah, Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, it's going to be an absolute war for as long as it lasts. I think it's going to be exciting. I'm really looking forward to this card. I do want to do a quick recap of the Wednesday card. Like I said, it was 14 fights. I did go 10-4, went 4-2 on the bets as well. And I'll be honest, like these first two cards are filled with absolute landmines. I mean, Buckley gets knocked out, Manir Lazez gets knocked out, Ponzinibbio gets knocked out. So luckily, I am in the green to start 2021. Had a pretty good event on Wednesday. I would have had a massive day if Manir Lazez would have got the win, but luckily I did hedge with that under 2.5. But yeah, starting out, having a pretty good year. I mean, it got both main events right the past 2 weeks, got Chiesa right, got Holloway right as well, and I really hope I get this main event right because it's going to be a big one here. Do want to do a couple announcements, so as always, it's going to be some giveaways. It's UFC 257 here. It's a big card. Conor McGregor on it. Going to do some giveaways here. So the first contest is going to be the DraftKings contest as always. To enter, first, like the video. Next, subscribe if you haven't yet. And then third, comment down your DraftKings username. I'll do maybe limit to it like 150 people in there. So give me your DraftKings username. I'll get you in there. And then the second one, as always, is going to be the significant strikes. So it's going to be the significant strikes combined between Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier. Comment down how many significant strikes you think they'll combine. Like the video, subscribe, and if you do get the closest, then you'll get $25 to the winner for each contest. Nothing crazy, just something to show thanks for all the support. Really do appreciate the support, and really want to say thank you guys for 300 patrons as well. And yeah, so this card, I'm looking forward to it. I do have 4 bets on the card already, and we'll be adding a couple more, probably throw a couple of those out on this video as well. So with that said, we're going to get into it. Before we get started, though, if you can leave a like, subscribe if you have not yet, would really appreciate that a ton. Trying to reach that 10,000 subscriber goal. Tune into the live stream Friday, as always, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Look out for the betting breakdown as well, where I'll be giving out all my bets. And you can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers. All my bets will be posted there for free. But of course, if you do want early access to my bets and other content, you can sign up on the Patreon. The link will be in the description below. So enough of that, let's get into the breakdowns here. So first we have Amir Albaze versus Zalgus Zuma Gulov. Albaze is going to be 27 years old, the younger guy here by 5 years. 5'5", 68-inch reach, 13-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Zalgus Zuma Gulov is going to be 32 years old, 5'4", 66-inch reach, 13-4 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So taking a look at the odds here, really close. Albaze opened up plus 135, currently sits at minus 105, and Zuma Gulov opened up at minus 165, currently sitting at minus 115. So if money is coming in on Albaze, and I 100% agree with that line movement. I mean, this is going to be a really close fight. I mean, a lot of Zuma Gulov's fights, I mean, a lot of them are really, really close fights, and I feel like this is going to be one as well. In Zuma Gulov's last fight, I believe it was against Paiva. He outlanded Paiva by, I want to say, like 15 to 20 significant strikes. I think he took him down a couple times as well, and he lost that fight. I mean, I really thought he won that fight. A lot of people were calling it a robbery, and I don't want to say it was a robbery, but I really did think he should have got that win there. But in this fight, I really like Amir Albaze. I like the style of the guy, decent striker, very good ground game as well. In his UFC debut, went out there against Malcolm Gordon, somebody who is supposedly a really good black belt. He took down Malcolm Gordon, was able to submit him, and I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. Malcolm Gordon, this guy that's supposed to be this black belt, and I know the win didn't age too well with Malcolm Gordon getting knocked out in like 20 seconds his last fight, but still was very impressed with Albaze nonetheless. Decent striking. I think this is going to be close. As are a lot of Zuma Gulov's fights. But I'm going to go with the underdog here. I'm going to go with Albaze. I'm going to say he gets a couple takedowns. I don't know if he's going to submit Zuma Gulov, but I do think it's going to be close. I'm going to take the underdog in a really close fight here just to edge it out by getting takedowns. He throws decent output as well. But I do feel like this is going to be super close, super close. But give me Albaze here by a really, really close decision. But should be a good fight nonetheless. Next, we have Mozar Evloev versus Nick Lentz. So Nick Lentz was supposed to fight Mike Grundy, which was going to be more competitive fight than this one. This is a good fight, though. I mean, a really good prospect in Evloev. And Evloev is 26 years old. He's going to be 10 years younger. He is 5'7", with a 72.5-inch reach, which is 4.5 inches of a reach advantage there. He is 13-0. Obviously 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Nick Lentz, 36 years old, 5'8", 68-inch reach, 30-11-2, and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. So we'll take a look at the odds, and they're pretty big here. Mozar Evloev opened up -410, currently sitting at -485, and he's like -500 on some books as well. I see -575 on a book as well, and Nick Lentz is currently sitting at +385. So I know there's been talks. I saw in an interview Nick Lentz has been having some eye problems. I think he got poked in his eye or something in his last fight. I think he had to like have some type of eye surgery. He said he was seeing double and stuff. Coming off of a little bit of a layoff as well. And I don't know, I think this is a really bad matchup for someone in Nick Lentz. I think Evloev's going to have the striking advantage. I think he's going to have the strength advantage, the wrestling advantage. What I will say, watching tape on Lentz, he has a really, really good guillotine. So I think if Evloev shoots in on Nick Lentz and takes him down, which I do think he could take him down if he wants to, you got to watch out for that guillotine. But other than that, I mean, I think this is a really good fight for Evloev. I mean, stuff the takedowns of Lentz, keep it on the feet, better striker, more output. Think it's going to be a pretty clear decision for Evloev. So what I will say is Evloev is not much of a finisher. I guess it's his only downfall. Only a 54% finish rate, 23% by knockout, 31% by submission. I don't see him submitting Lentz. I definitely don't see him knocking out Lentz, somebody as tough as Lentz as well. But yeah, I'm going to go with Evloev here. I'm going to go with the younger guy. I just think he has multiple paths to victory. Whether he does want to keep this standing for 50 minutes, I think he can. Whether he does want to take down Nick Lentz, get some top control, stay out of trouble, I think he can. Is the price too wide? I mean, I can't complain about it. I do think Evloev wins. I think he's a fine parlay piece. I mean, if it gets down to like -500, -575, I wouldn't say that. But sitting at like -450, I think it's fine parlay piece there. So give me Evloev here to get it done by decision. Like I said, not much of a finisher. Nick Lentz is very tough, but should be a pretty dominant decision here, 30-27. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this fight here. It's going to be Andrew Sanchez versus Mohmed Muradov. And Muradov is 30 years old, 6'2", 75.5-inch reach, 24-6 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Has been on an absolute roll as of late. Andrew Sanchez, 32 years old, 6'1", 76-inch reach, 12-5 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here. Andrew Sanchez opened up as a -185 favorite. That can't be right. There's no way that's right. But if he did, a lot of money's coming on the other side. I mean, that's crazy. Open up -185. That's crazy. Sitting at +115 now is Andrew Sanchez. And Muradov opened up at +155. Man, I wish I would have got on that. I don't know if it was a real line, but he did open up at +155 and is currently sitting at -135, which is more so where I think the price range should be. And I did cash a nice bet on Sanchez in his last fight against Wellington Turman. I think I got him at like +120, +130. Went out there and Sanchez, not known as being a finisher, went out there and knocked out Wellington Turman in the first round, which was awesome. But as for this fight, I mean, I don't know. This is a tough fight to call in a way. I think Muradov's obviously going to have the striking advantage. Muradov's somebody that has really good volume. Averages 4.97 significant strikes per minute with a 41% accuracy compared to Andrew Sanchez that lands 4.5 significant strikes with a 44% accuracy. And what I don't like on the Sanchez side is Sanchez is absorbing more than he's giving out. He does absorb 4.92 significant strikes per minute with only a 50% striking defense. Like, he is very, very hittable, which seems like a recipe for disaster in this fight here. Muradov only absorbs 2.57, which is really good, with a 64% striking defense. As for the takedown and grappling goes, so this is where it gets really interesting. Obviously, Muradov has 100% takedown defense, but it's a really small sample size there. But Sanchez does land at 2.16 takedowns per 50 minutes with a 32% takedown accuracy. We haven't really seen Sanchez go to the wrestling as much as of late. And I don't know if it's because of his cardio problems, because he does slow down if he does go to that wrestling heavy approach. Or I don't know what's going on, but he's tend to be leaning more on his striking as of late. And I don't recommend that in this fight whatsoever. So I'm curious to see the game plan of Andrew Sanchez, because he definitely needs to come in here and get takedowns or he's going to lose. So, I'm going to take Muradov here. I think there are some question marks with his takedown defense. But I do think that I don't know if Sanchez has the cardio to really push a wrestling heavy pace for 15 minutes. And Muradov he's so impressive on the feet. He's a really, really good striker. He's going to have a massive striking advantage. and I do feel like this fight's going to primarily play out on the feet. So, yeah, give me McMann Muradov here. I don't even hate that line where it's at now. Obviously, if you got it at plus money, congratulations. That's awesome. But even where it's at now, I honestly don't hate that minus 135. Haven't pulled the trigger yet myself, but that is something I'm looking at because I just think there's a huge gap in skill in the striking. And like I said, Andrew Sanchez is so hittable. And it seems like a bad matchup, but could Sanchez go to the wrestling and the grappling? He could, but he just hasn't been doing that much as of late. So for that reason, I'm going to go with Muradov to win. I don't know if he's going to win by knockout or decision. Sanchez has been knocked out 3 times. He's a very tough guy. I'm going to say knockout. I'm going to say Muradov knocks him out. Muradov does have a 67% knockout rate, and I'm going to say he knocks out Andrew Sanchez and gives Sanchez his 4th knockout loss there. So McMann Muradov for me, and really looking forward to this fight. And yeah, this could be the people's main event here. We have Khalil Rountree versus Marcin Prachnio. And Rountree is 30 years old, 6'1", 74-inch reach, 8-4 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Prachnio is 32 years old, 6'3", 74-inch reach, 13-5 and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Getting into the line here, Rountree opened at minus 285 and currently sits at minus 325. And Prachnio currently sits at plus 265 there. I mean, it's a simple breakdown here. I mean, Prachnio in his 3 UFC fights, he's been knocked out in the first round all 3 times. And what's interesting about Rountree, somebody who's very powerful, hits very hard. He has finished 5 of his 8 wins in the first round. And Rountree does have a 70% finish rate. I guess what you got to worry about with Rountree, I guess, is going to be, I mean, the takedown defense, the wrestling, grappling defensively, and, you know, getting taken down and all that. But I don't think Prachnio is a guy to really test that at all. And I just think, you know, Prachnio, I mean, he leaves his chin up in the air, non-existent striking defense, non-existent IQ. In the Sam Alvey fight, he got knocked down, got up, ran at Sam Alvey with his hands down, like down to the sides of his legs, and got clipped by Sam Alvey, somebody that's not really a knockout guy as of late. And I don't know, I just think it's a clear Rountree round 1 for me. I did throw this out on Twitter. I saw the Rountree round 1 prop at plus 175. I think that's a really good price there. I mean, like I said, Rountree's finished 5 of his 8 wins inside the first round, and Prachnio's been finished in the first round 3 times in a row. So yeah, I think that first round prop's good, and even the under 1.5 I think is a good look as well. So kind of just throwing that out there because, like I said, Prachnio's never been to the second round of the UFC, and Rountree is a very, very powerful guy. And how does Prachnio win? I don't know. I don't know. I think Rountree's a really good parlay piece. Probably one of my most confident picks on the slate. I guess Prachnio, maybe he knocks him out. If anything, I guess that's his path to victory. But even then, like that's a big stretch there. So yeah, I'm going to take Rountree pretty comfortably here. If anything, though, parlay piece, I think the under, or even Rountree in round 1 if the price is good enough. So Rountree round 1 knockout. All right, and this is kind of going to be a little bit of a brag here. And, you know, women's MMA is known for being kind of hard to predict. And I am undefeated in 2021 in women's MMA fights. I think I'm 4-0, and knock on wood. But, I mean, that's impressive. Come on. I mean, got Vanessa Mello right on the first card of 2021. Good start. And in this one, yeah, I mean, it's going to be close. I mean, Sarah McMann, somebody who's 40 years old, which is insane. 5'6", 66-inch reach, 12-5 and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. And Juliana Pena is 31 years old, 5'6", 69-inch reach, 9-4 and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. So, yeah, and Pena's last fight against GDR. So what happened there? I mean, Pena, I believe she's a black belt. She went out there and she got submitted by GDR. And I'll tell you right now, GDR, that was her first submission on her record ever. And it's just, I mean, Pena has been looking so bad as of late. And in this fight, Sarah McMann is going to be the favorite, and rightfully so here. I think she has a really good chance to win this fight. I think it's a really good stylistic matchup for her. But, of course, it should be close. And McMann is minus 130, and Pena is plus 110. McMann in her last fight, I mean, against Lena Landsberg, she was a slight underdog in that fight. She opened up plus 120. She actually closed as like a slight favorite, but closer to a pick'em there. But yeah, she went out there and she dominated Lena Landsberg. I mean, it's not, like I said, not that impressive, but I think Landsberg landed one significant strike, which was very impressive there. So yeah, I mean, McMann, we know what she's good at. She's really good at wrestling. I do want to get into some stats here. As for the striking, Pena's going to land a little bit more at 2.8 significant strikes per minute compared to McMann's 2.4. McMann 47% striking defense compared to Pena's 51%. I think the striking is going to be a little bit close, but what I think this fight's going to be won and lost on is going to be on the mat. I think if either fighter gets on top, I think they're going to have success, but I think the fighter more likely to get on top and get those takedowns is going to be Sarah McMann, somebody that has really good wrestling, and she lands a massive 4.5 takedowns per 15 minutes with a 60% takedown accuracy. And for as much takedowns as she gets and shoots, a 60% is fantastic. So, and Juliana Pena, get this, she has a 28% takedown defense. 28%. I mean, I think McMann gets on top of her, controls her for at least 2 out of the 3 rounds. Yeah, it could be close, but give me Sarah McMann, 29-28, maybe 30-27. Am I confident enough to bet it? I mean, maybe. I kind of want to see the weigh-ins a little bit. But I think McMann should get this done. I mean, get on top. It's probably going to be a boring fight, but give me Sarah McMann by decision here. Yeah, very tough fight to call here. Brad Tavares versus Antonio Carlos Jr. Antonio Carlos Jr., my bad. Brad Tavares, he is 33 years old, 6'1", 74-inch reach, 17-6, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Antonio Carlos Jr. is 30 years old, 6'2", 79-inch reach, 10-4, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Like I said, it's such a tough fight to call. We'll take a look at the odds here. And Brad Tavares is going to be a slight favorite here. Opened up at -165, currently sitting at -135. Antonio Carlos Jr. opened up +135, is currently at +115. So money coming in on Antonio Carlos Jr. I do think that's warranted. I do think this is a really close fight. We'll get into the stats a little bit. As for the striking, obviously you got to give Tavares a striking advantage, landing 3 significant strikes per minute with a 40% accuracy, absorbing 2.76 significant strikes per minute with a 55% striking defense. Antonio Carlos Jr. only landing about 1.91 significant strikes per minute with a 44% accuracy, but absorbing 1.98 significant strikes per minute with a 53% striking defense. As for the grappling goes, I mean, Brad Tavares, pretty good takedown defense, 77%. What I did notice, I went through his record. He hasn't really fought many wrestler grapplers as of late. I mean, Shabazian, Adesanya, Krzysztof Jotko. He fought Elias Theodorou in 2017. Theodorou actually took him down 3 times. I mean, not a good look there. He was taken down 7 times by Yoel Romero in like 2014, long time ago. But other than that, like, he hasn't fought like really many guys that are going to test that ground game of his. But ultimately, Tavares does have a 77% takedown defense, really good there. But Antonio Carlos Jr., obviously a really good black belt, really good on the mat. Cardio issues a little bit. I mean, I'm kind of concerned about that cardio. I think he needs to get in there, get this fight down to the mat. Very decent wrestling. I mean, averages about 3.7 takedowns per 15 minutes with a 44% takedown accuracy. I'm gonna go with the dog here. I think this is such a close fight. I do see Antonio Carlos Jr. getting him down. If he does get him down, I think he's going to have a lot of success. And I guess the big narrative here is Tavares has never been submitted officially, but I think he was submitted on The Ultimate Fighter. I want to say by Court McGee on The Ultimate Fighter. Don't quote me on that, but I want to say he was submitted on The Ultimate Fighter like 7 years ago, something crazy like that. But officially, he's never been submitted. But if Antonio Carlos Jr. gets you down, he's definitely capable of finding a submission. And Jr.'s a really dangerous guy. He's finished 84% of his wins, 69% coming by submission. And I'm going to take a shot on the dog here. I'm going to say Antonio Carlos Jr. submits Brad Tavares. Kind of a bold pick there, but I'm going to go with the underdog and Antonio Carlos Jr. to get it done by submission. Really looking forward to that fight. I think it's a really great matchup there. Speaking of great matchups, probably one of the best fights on the card here. And we have Arman Tsarukyan versus Nasrat Haqparast. And Tsarukyan is 24 years old, 5'7", 72.5-inch reach. So he's going to be at a height disadvantage of 3 inches, but he will have a half an inch of reach. And yeah, Tsarukyan is 15-2 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Haqparast is 25 years old, 5'10", 72-inch reach, 12-3, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So, taking a look at the odds here, Tsarukyan And yeah, it's wide. I mean, Tsarukyan opened up -195, is currently sitting at -275, and Haqparast is +235, opened up +160. So a lot of money coming in on Tsarukyan. He's in a lot of parlays. And yeah, Tsarukyan is somebody that I've been really impressed with. I mean, in his UFC debut against Islam Makhachev, came in there, a huge underdog, made a decent account for himself. A lot of people thought that Makhachev would just roll through him, and Makhachev did beat him, but he didn't like roll through him. I thought it was not a close fight, but it was close, a lot closer than people thought it would be. And then he went out there and beat Oliver Aubin-Mercier, and then he beat Davi Ramos in a really good fight there, really good win. And I don't know, Haqparast, I don't know, he's someone that had a lot of hype on him, it looked like. In his fight against Drew Dober, he was a -320, closed at -326 there. And I was actually on Dober in that fight. I didn't expect Dober to go out there and knock him out in the first round, but he did. And it kind of derailed the hype train in a little bit, because in his next fight against Alex Munoz, he closed at like -235, went out there, put on a beautiful performance. And in this fight, I think it's closer than the line indicates. I mean, Haqparast, I want to say on the feet, I want to give him a slight advantage. I think on the feet it's close. I want to give him a slight advantage, though. Very good striking. Very good output, insane output, actually. But where I think this fight's going to be won or lost, and why I'm going with Tsarukyan here, it's because he can fall back on that wrestling game. Very good wrestling for Tsarukyan. Very good ground game. Haqparast, and currently in the UFC, does have an 81% takedown defense, was able to stuff a lot of the takedowns from Munoz. But man, I feel like this fight's going to play out so close, but I just think that Tsarukyan has more paths to victory. I think the stand-up's going to be really close, but I think those takedowns of Tsarukyan are going to be the deciding factor for sure, and I do think he gets them. But yeah, this fight could be very close. It really could. But I'm going to slightly lean with Tsarukyan. I do think he has the more upside out of the two. I think both guys have upside, but I think Tsarukyan has more upside out of the two. Very young guy. Both guys are very young. Tsarukyan, 24 years old. But I'm going to take Tsarukyan. Very close fight there. I don't agree with the line. I really don't. I think it should be closer. But give me Tsarukyan by decision there. All right, next fight here we have Amanda Hibas versus Marina Rodriguez, and Hibas is 27 years old, 5'3", 66-inch reach, 10-1, and 5-0 in her last 5 fights. Marina Rodriguez is 33 years old, 5'6", 65-inch reach, 12-1, and 1, or 12-1 and 2. And 2-1 and 2 in her last 5 fights. Taking a look at the odds here, Amanda Hibas is -300, open at -280. Rodriguez is +250, open up +220. I mean, yeah, kind of frustrating with Marina Rodriguez. I want to say I bet her in her last fight against Carla Esparza. And I was kind of expecting some improvements in the takedown defense, and I think that's one of the big things here is that takedown defense and that ground game of Rodriguez, and that's why she's getting a lot of these draws with other fighters. It's just that ground game is so suspect, and you'd think that she'd come in here and make improvements, and we saw in the Esparza fight that she has not made those improvements. She was taken down, she was controlled, she looked good off her back. I mean, she was landing strikes off her back, but she just couldn't work her way up to the feet. And in this fight, I mean, I think when it's striking, it's going to be close. I'd probably even give the slight edge to Rodriguez there with the striking. She's very dangerous, lots of output. But the thing is, I mean, she has no takedown defense, Rodriguez. So how does she win this fight? I think she's going to be on her back for a decent amount of time. Ribas has really good wrestling, really good takedowns. Ribas does average 2.28 takedowns per 15 minutes with a 54% takedown accuracy. Rodriguez does a 61% takedown defense, and she just has nothing to offer back, and I think that's that's a red flag here. So for that reason, I gotta go Ribas. You can argue all you want that the line's off a little bit, and maybe it is, because I do think Rodriguez is really skilled. She really is, but there's just a glaring weakness in her game, and like how's she going to win if Ribas can just take her down, control her, maybe find a submission as well. Ribas does have a 40% submission rate. I don't know. Give me Ribas here. Like I said, it could play out close. I think Ribas, it would be really smart to go to that wrestling, grappling right away. I think she said in an interview that she wants to kind of test her stand-up a little bit against Rodriguez. Don't do that. And I mean, Ribas is somebody that has been knocked out before. I know it was a while ago, but she has been knocked out, so kind of sketchy there. Yeah, I mean, I'm leaving Ribas out of my parlays personally. I do have a parlay with 2 other guys on the card, but yeah, I'm going to leave Ribas out of the parlays. But she just has such a clear path to victory that it's really hard not to pick her here, and that is with those takedowns and the grappling. But yeah, she was out there taking down Mackenzie Dern. I mean, she was just fine. I mean, she gets submitted. She took down Dern, I think, twice. I think she can take down Rodriguez here. Stay out of trouble on the mat. Obviously, Rodriguez is active off her back. I do like that. I thought she, you can make an argument that maybe she won that fight against Carla Esparza just by landing a lot off of her back. But it's hard to pick somebody that I think is going to be on her back for a lot of the fight because it's just a glaring weakness. I mean, if we know it, I'm sure Amanda Ribas knows it. I think the coaches know it, and Ribas probably takes her down, maybe finds a submission. I'm going to go Ribas. I'm going to go Ribas by decision there. But yeah, it should be a really good fight. It should be a really good fight. All right, so we have 4 fights left, and yeah, this one could be fight of the night. Otman Azaitar versus Matt Frivola. And Azaitar, he is 30 years old, and he has 5'8", 71-inch reach, 13-0, obviously 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Matt Frivola, 30 years old, 5'9", 71-inch reach, 8-1 and 1, and 3-1 and 1 in his last 5 fights. That one draw being to Lando Venata. And I'll talk about that fight in a little bit. But yeah, so the line opened up -185. Azaitar is currently at -155, so closing in a little bit. Frivola +155 opened up. It's currently at +135. And yeah, I mean, I watched like the whole career, or at least as much as I could, of Otman Azaitar. What I needed to see was, how is this guy's takedown defense? Because that is a question mark in this matchup specifically. How is this takedown defense? And what I found was, I want to say it was like 2016. Don't quote me on the year, but I want to say it was like 2016, around there. He was taken down a couple times, was able to work his way back up to his feet, and then was able to get a finish in the 3rd round in that fight I watched. And it was just nice to see that the power translate into the later rounds, especially after kind of a wrestling heavy pace that was pushed in that fight. So that was good to see there. But I mean, he's somebody that's obviously going to be improving the takedown defense. I think that's something that's really going to be important in his game and important in this fight as well. And I'll kind of get into the stats a little bit. So Azaitar, through I think 2 fights in the UFC, does have 2 knockouts. Knocked out Worthy in that fight. I want to say he was like a really slight favorite there. I think, yeah, he closed at -128, which looking back at it is kind of insane there. And then opened up a -305 favorite against Teemu Packalén, closed at -186. So yeah, 2 finishes so far in the UFC. And the thing with Matt Frivola is, watching that Venata fight, I mean, he's kind of reckless. He's kind of reckless. He does initiate in these brawls. He likes to get into firefights, and that's what he did against Lando Venata. And Venata knocked him down, I think, twice, something like that. And I mean, the fight before that, he got knocked out by Marco Polo Reyes. And in that fight, he closed around a -200 favorite. Marco Polo Reyes, I don't think he's on the UFC roster anymore. I mean, somebody that's really not that great. Went out there and starched Matt Frivola. He knocked him down. Frivola got back up, and then he knocked him out cold. And I don't know, I think, Frivola may be on the chitty side, and he's bringing a style to his game that, it seems like a recipe for disaster. I mean, engaging in these brawls with a guy like Otman Azaitar, one of the hardest hitters you'll see. I mean, this dude can crack. And of course, like I said, there are question marks with his takedown defense, but I'm assuming it's improving. Like I said, he got taken down. It was a couple years ago. But like I said, he was able to work his way back up to his feet, able to find a finish in the later rounds. And I don't know, I see Matt Frivola messing around on the feet a little bit too much. I see him getting clipped here. Azaitar has absolutely crazy power. He has more power than Marco Polo Reyes. He probably has more power than Lando Venata as well. And this dude can crack. He can crack. And I'm going to say he knocks out Matt Frivola. I'm going to say round 1 here. And, yeah, should be a really good fight for as long as it lasts. Does Matt Frivola have a path to victory? Yeah, he does. Getting takedowns, staying safe. But, I mean, he just engages in too many firefights for me. So I'm going to say he knocks out Matt Frivola here in round 1. And, yeah, really looking forward to this fight. All right, next fight we have Jessica Eye versus Joanne Calderwood. Calderwood is 35 years old, 5'6", 65.5-inch reach, 14-5 and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Jessica Eye, 34 years old, 5'6", 66-inch reach, 15-8 and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Taking a look at the odds, Joanne Calderwood is going to be a slight favorite here. Opened up -110, currently at -120. Jessica Eye sitting at +100. And yeah, kind of upset with Joanne Calderwood here. I mean, I had a bet on her against Jennifer Maia in her last fight. And she was actually, you know, set up for a title fight, but she wanted to stay more active. She took that fight against Jennifer Maia. And what do you know? What was it? An armbar from guard, I believe? Or I know it was submission for a fact. And Maia was able to submit Joanne Calderwood, which obviously sucked because they had a bet. And it sucked because she didn't get that title shot. And now she's going against Jessica Eye here in what could be a close fight. I mean, I'm going to get to the stats a little bit. What I like about JoJo is, you know, the output. She throws a ton of output. Lands 6.17 significant strikes per minute compared to Eye's 3.5, which is, you know, almost double the output of Jessica Eye. Jessica Eye only having a 36% accuracy compared to Calderwood having a 48%. Calderwood does have a 52% striking defense compared to Eye's 58% as far as the grappling goes. And yeah, I don't think there's going to be many takedowns from the Eye side. I think if there's any takedowns, it's going to be coming from Calderwood. She does average about 2 takedowns for 50 minutes with a 57% takedown accuracy. I think if there's like a really close round, I think she can maybe take it down to kind of edge that round out. But it should be really close on the feet. Obviously, I gotta favor the output of Calderwood, but Jessica Eye is no joke on the feet, and I don't know. I'm not betting Joanne Calderwood here. She screwed me over against Jennifer Maia. I thought she'd win there. I think she'll win here, but just not something I want to lay my money on personally. If she was an underdog, maybe I'd take a shot there, but I'm gonna say Calderwood gets it done by decision. I mean, I can almost guarantee this goes to decision. I don't know what the odds are on that, but I mean, either way, just probably stay away from this fight. I got Calderwood though in probably a close decision. I think she's gonna edge it out with the volume, maybe a takedown or two, but honestly not all that interested in this fight. Getting into the co-main event, and yeah, I'm excited that the UFC debut, or I think he fought in the UFC a while ago, and that's going to be Michael Chandler. And yeah, Michael Chandler is somebody that is 21-5, and getting into the stats here, he is 34 years old, 5'8", 69-inch reach, 21-5, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Dan Hooker is 30 years old, 6 foot, 75-inch reach, 20-9, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. So yeah, this is going to be a really good fight. Like I said, Michael Chandler coming into the UFC here, and I don't know. I think this is such a tough fight to call. I'm really high on Dan Hooker. And yeah, never mind. Chandler never fought in the UFC. I don't know why I thought that. I thought he fought in like the UFC like earlier in his career, but no, I don't think he did. So anyway, yeah. So looking at the odds here, Chandler is +110 and Dan Hooker is -130. Open at -140. I mean, just looking at the size of Dan Hooker, he's somebody that has a 75.5-inch reach compared to Michael Chandler's 69-inch reach. Dan Hooker is 20-9. I don't know. I think that Hooker is going to have the power advantage, but I don't like about Chandler is that he has been knocked out, I want to say 2 or 3 times. And if this does get a finish on either side, I think it's going to come from the Hooker side. Hooker is very, very durable. I think Hooker's been finished once by Edson Barbosa. I think he got hurt to the body in that fight. Where it was an absolute beating in that fight, but I don't know. I think Chandler may struggle with the range a little bit of Hooker and the output of Hooker and the power of Hooker, but I don't know. I can see Chandler trying to get on the inside, trying to get takedowns here, and Hooker actually has some pretty solid takedown defense. I knew he was taken down by Dustin Poirier, but he does have a 79% takedown defense. I think Hooker is going to be able to keep it at range here. Like I said, I mean, I don't know. It's a close fight. I'm going to slightly lean with Hooker. I don't know if he's going to knock out Chandler, but I think he could hurt him here. I'm going to go with Hooker to win. I'll say by knockout. I'm going to say he knocks out Michael Chandler here. Like I said, Michael Chandler making his UFC debut. I think he's going to get done. I think he's going to get knocked out here by Hooker. I think people are really underestimating Hooker, and that's kind of crazy saying because he is the favorite here. But I don't know. I think Hooker probably deserves to be a bigger favorite. I mean, he went to a really close fight with Dustin Poirier. A lot of people thought that Hooker won that fight. Went to a war with Paul Felder, and Michael Chandler out here getting knocked out by Will Brooks in 2014. Got knocked out by Pitbull in 2019, so I don't know. I'm going to go with Hooker here to win by knockout. All right, so next we have Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier. The main event. The main event is here, and yeah, it's a good fight. Conor McGregor, he is 32 years old, 5'9", 74-inch reach, 22-4 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Dustin Poirier, 31 years old, 5'9", 73-inch reach, 26-6 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Yeah, so obviously these guys fought before. We know that Conor McGregor was able to knock him out in the first round. Obviously, new fight here. But, man, getting into some of the stats, kind of similar in the output that they throw. Conor McGregor does land 4.43 significant strikes per minute compared to Dustin Poirier's 4.57. 50% striking accuracy for Poirier, 49% by McGregor. Both absorb kind of the same. I mean, McGregor absorbs 4.40 compared to Poirier's 4.18. 55% striking defense for McGregor, 54% striking defense for Poirier. So really similar stats here. As for the grappling stats, I don't really see a takedown on either side. Maybe Poirier comes out here, tries to get a takedown. I think that would be maybe smart to do so, but it's just not something he does all that much. But I think if there is a takedown from either side, it's probably the Poirier side. And taking a look at the odds, Conor McGregor is minus 310, actually open at minus 180. And Dustin Poirier is going to be plus 255. I'll keep it kind of short here. I think Conor McGregor is going to do the same thing he did in their last fight. I don't think it's going to be as early, but I do think he's going to knock out Dustin Poirier. Poirier is somebody that has been knocked out twice before in his career. And Conor McGregor, I mean, he has really good power, very accurate. I think he's going to be the better striker in this fight. The only thing I'm concerned about with Conor is going to be that cardio. But me personally, I don't think it's going to get to the later rounds. I think he's going to knock him out early. But if it does get to the later rounds, if it does get to rounds 3, 4, and 5, it's going to get interesting. But I got to side with McGregor here to get it done. At first, coming into it, I thought Poirier might be a live dog, but man, I don't know. I think Conor's just on a whole other level when it comes to this here. And of course, you know, Conor. I mean, he's lost 4 fights in his career, and of course, you can't. I mean, he lost to Khabib. I mean, the GOAT there. So I don't think you can look into that too much. Obviously, a completely different matchup from like a Khabib here. He did lose to Nate Diaz, kind of a bad stylistic matchup with Nate Diaz, somebody that has a really good chin, somebody that has really good cardio, somebody that can outlast him. Diaz was able to choke him out, but yeah, I mean, I got Conor here. I got Conor to get the finish. Pretty confident he gets the win. I just don't know. I don't know if Poirier's gonna, outlast the power. Somebody with as much power as Conor McGregor. And I'm gonna say Conor gets it done. I'm gonna say first round knockout. I think he's predicting a 60-second knockout. I don't know about that, but I will say in the first round. But yeah, give me Conor McGregor to get it done. So I'm gonna quickly recap the picks here. Conor McGregor, Dan Hooker, Joanne Calderwood, Ottman Azaitar, Amanda Hibas, Arman Tsarukyan, Antonio Carlos Jr., Sarah McMann, Khalil Rountree, Mohmed, Muradov, Mozar, Evloev, and then Amir Albaze. So going with a couple dogs here. I think it's kind of a chalky card. But yeah, really looking forward to it. So make sure you guys tune into the live stream Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, going over the weigh-ins. I'm going to dig in a little bit more, do a little bit final research, get my final thoughts and everything. So make sure you tune into that. The betting breakdown will be posted sometime, maybe Saturday morning. On there, I'll be recapping all my bets, giving the best bet for each fight. You can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers. All my bets will be posted there for free. But of course, if you do want extra content, if you do want early access to my bets, I have 4 so far for this card. Sign up on the Patreon, the most popular option being that $10 betting option, which is like $2.50 per card. There you'll get my model with all the stats for all the fighters. You got my early bets, my betting breakdown videos, my betting article, my betting leans article, all that good stuff. Access to Discord, the Patreon-only live stream as well. So, yeah, good stuff over there. And just, yeah, I want to say thanks again for the 300 Patrons. It's awesome. Was not expecting to get 300 right away, but that's awesome. Thank you guys so much. Other than that, make sure you guys comment down the significant strikes between McGregor Poirier. Comment down your DraftKings name. Leave a like, subscribe. And, yeah, that's about it. So, yeah, really big card here. And good luck, guys. Let's win some money. In the green for 2021 on some crazy cards. Some crazy stuff has happened so far. So luckily to be in the green and hopefully keep it going with this card. And, yep, good luck, guys, and talk to you soon.